Hi, it's Vex. I know it's me today. Me today. No little paper here. But today I want to discuss something really cool I thought of. A new series I want to work on. I've been wanting to do this for a little while, called Budget to Baller. So what we do is we start off with a budget deck. For instance, we have our budget Sisse deck that we posted up here, and then that's an example, or a Layla, another budget deck I posted, and then we want to turn to a baller deck. I haven't seen a lot of this on YouTube very much, where you just take a budget deck and go all the way to baller status. I've only seen like a regular deck and say turn it into a budget deck, but never a budget deck going to baller. And this is a cool thought experiment. I've always wanted to try something new and see where it goes. So I just want to talk about what I want to do in this series. For instance, if you do have a budget deck, or you have a deck and you want to just slowly upgrade it, you could see this is the final form, is a baller form, and then you could transform your deck into the baller deck over time if you want to. I do find it really cool that Commander's 100 card singleton lets you customize your deck to your level of play, your power level, lets you upgrade your deck slowly. It doesn't rotate; it's an eternal format, kind of. I guess it definitely doesn't rotate like Vintage rotated with the Companions, or Legacy, or every set rotates all these eternal formats. But Commander stays constant. Again, because you have 100 card singleton, you might not even see some cards throughout like multiple games. I had a Double Masters box opening recently with some card, and I've had him in deck for like 2 years. I've never actually played with the card, so it's kind of crazy to think about. Even if you upgrade your counter spell to Mana Drain, like Mana Drain here, you might not actually ever see it. This is kind of funny, but as you get more tutors, you probably see it. So before begin talking about different baller cards, I brought some examples with me right here. My budget decks are usually between 120 to 150. They're really fun to play. They really test your skills because the majority of the budget is in the mana base. For instance, you don't get these dual lands and such. So you have to be very cognizant of what colors you get and what colors you need and how to tap. Because with tons of dual lands, I just tap random lands. I don't really care if I have the colors or not. I just go for it. But with budget decks, you have to be careful about that. Another parameter is, in a budget deck, no cards over $10. So if it's over $10, it's not part of the deck unless absolutely necessary to make the deck function. Like a theme of the deck, or the commander might be like $12. So obviously you have to spend over 10, but usually 120 to 150, no cards over 10. Again, with this series, I'm not actually trying to build like EDH decks, like competitive decks. I'm just trying to increase the power level of my budget deck to as far as I can. I mean, I guess you couldn't play it, in a CDH deck, but I don't put cards like Red Blast, Green Blast, Veil of Summer. No, there's no Green Blast. I mean Blue Blast. Well, I guess Veil of Summer is the Green Blast. Stuff like that, like Color Hosers, Carpet Flowers. I don't target specific, colors or archetypes, because that's what CH does. But I don't do that in my decks. I just add raw power. So you play in a high powered pod if you want to. Yeah. So actually the funny part is that I actually don't like having too many high powered cards in my deck, because all decks start looking the same, right? Mana Drain. Imagine every blue deck having Mana Drain. Imagine playing against Mana Drain all the time. I have a friend that always puts Mana Drain in a deck. He only owns one, but he keeps on rotating between all the different decks. It is a salt-inducing card. What I do is I just use Counterspell instead. I mean, it's a good budget replacement. It's this is one of the most expensive cards for EDH right now that is reprintable, not on the reserve list. So it just makes for a better gameplay where you're not always having to face the most powerful cards and always getting blown out. Because I know Mana Drain. Imagine Mana Drain on turn 4. Your turn 4 play, your opponent gets 4 mana on their turn, so now they have 8 mana, 9 mana, how much ever they ramped, and can play Haymaker. Essentially, you just win the game because they played this one powerful card. So, but again, in this series, we want the most powerful cards. So let's go through some of them that are just like, generic good stuff cards that are way above our budget range, above $10, and go in most decks. So if you start off at a budget deck, these are cards you probably want to acquire first, so you can go to the Baller series. So the first card I recommend are all the colorless cards, because they go in any deck. The colorless cards are essentially, I have them here. Mana Crypt, just reprinted double masters, so this is very, very valuable. Chrome Mox, again, just reprinted double masters. Mana Vault, not reprinted double masters, but again, mana is very important and very costly in the game. That's why it costs so much. For Mox Diamond, this is on the reserve list. You don't really need this to play, but again, we're trying to ball out our deck, so we got to add Mox Diamond in there. I recommend just acquiring these 3 cards. Mana Vault, Chrome Mox, and Mana Crypt. HE2 is really good. You get 2 mana for a price of 1. So definitely try to get that one. Mox Diamond, I'd say for last. Then there's the good counter spells, Force of Will, Mana Drain. This is just reprinted double masters. This has to be reprinted in Commander Legends. If it's not, then this thing will go up to $200. It's so good. Tutors, Demonic Tutor. You always want a Demonic Tutor. I talked about it in the Commander staples. You want a Demonic Tutor in your arsenal. Again, that's only if you play blue. That's why I say go for the colorless first. Goes in any deck. Vampiric Tutor, that's good too. This really needs a reprint as well. Hopefully one day. Some of the good protections, but I mean, I don't have all the Baller staples. I just brought some because that's just stacked this high. Let's talk about like Teferi's Protection. If you're in white, very good card. Protects against this next card, Cyclonic Rift, right here. Cyclonic Rift is there is a real budget replacement. I mean, there's some cards that do this almost the same thing, but there's nothing like this. So if you're playing blue, I would actually recommend getting this card. It's cheaper, way cheaper than Mana Drain, just reprinted double masters. I recommend getting Mana Drain first if you can afford it. But if you can't, then Cyclonic Rift is just amazing. This is the most super salty card, Rhystic Study. It's just a printed Jumpstart. I haven't get my hands on it because supply is extremely limited, and I just don't want to pay the high cost to just buy packs that will be reprinted throughout the whole year. But Rhystic Study, you want to pay 1 for that. Otherwise, we're gonna go Baller out, dual lands. These are the blue ones I bought. I do have unlimited ones, but again, when I say Baller, I mean the cheapest version of the most expensive cards. So the revised dual lands here. If you want to go super Baller, you put Alpha dual lands, but I don't recommend that. Sometimes you get the fetch lands. Hopefully they'll be reprinted soon. Who knows? They say that by the end of this year. Let's see. I think there'll be like $300-400 of fetch land and like Zendikar, 1 out of 1 palette. Who knows how rare they're gonna be, but they're probably rare. But the Shocklands are actually above my budget because they're above $10. But these are really, really good to get if you want to do that. And then there's some commanders that are way above budget. Like Trax is like 20, Kozilek is like, I don't know, like 40, 50. So unfortunately, we can't do a budget deck with a non-budget commander. We could technically, but we're giving up, like half our budget just to buy the commander. So yeah, and like unfortunately, this format's gotten so popular that like commanders have gotten so expensive that you can't even play the budget deck because the commander costs so much. So I think it's kind of interesting. Overall, I hope you enjoy this series. I hope you enjoy seeing me, transform a budget deck to a Baller deck. Hope it inspires you to, like maybe add a couple cards in your budget deck to kind of like slowly morph it into a more powerful deck. And you don't have to go all the way to Baller status, but it's just cool to see that transformation. I'm also on Goldfish, the budget deck, but I'm gonna Goldfish the Baller deck and show you the power level difference between the two. And I think it's very interesting. I think the power level is kind of like you shave 1, maybe 2 turns off your clock, and then increase your power, your resiliency because you have good counter spells, good tutors, and increased consistency like that. So I hope you enjoy it. So what kind of decks would you like to see me do as a budget deck and then as a baller deck? Leave your answers in the comments below, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you like the video, smash the subscribe button to support me in the future so I can like afford all these baller cards, because sometimes I don't actually have the card, but I really want to put it in this series, so I'll just buy the card, put it in. So it does cost some money to do that. So definitely hit the subscribe button, and as always, have a wonderful day.